know what IRL meant until yesterday, so it's fine. I'm okay with that.
Did you think it was just Earl?
I genuinely
People were like, so Earl?
No, because I've only heard it and
hey girl,
thought
Earl.
about, no, I've only heard it yesterday and thought about what that's supposed to mean in reality.
You mean in real life? What
In real life.
Yeah.
And I genuinely thought for 1 second that someone was just saying URL wrong, as in URL ...
Oh my
dot,
God.
something else.
You thought it was...
Okay, so you have to go to this IRL.
Oh my God.
I've
probably done that before too with some other
Am
stuff.
I wrong?
That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's the Good Chat, a good place to have a good chat about the good place.
Nice. Welcome to the Good Chat, a good place to have a good chat about the good place. I'm Noosh Chibby.
I'm Solana Hack.
And I'm Kieran Kraft.
This week we're chatting about Season 3, Episode 7, titled The Worst Possible Use of Free Will, directed by Claire Scanlon, written by Cord Jefferson.
And the interesting thing about that episode, the title, they said it in the episode, but it was thrown away in a very interesting moment.
Yeah. Okay, guys, it's time for our 30-second recap from memory. Last week, Sully went. Now, I think it is my turn because I haven't gone in a while.
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to start alternating rather than doing rough paper scissors because as thrilling audio as that makes.
It's more fair.
It's
justice, whatever.
Exactly. And then we can really see who's the actual champion.
Oh, true. We should tally.
Me.
And then I'll do next week.
Me. I didn't say that. Who was saying that? Someone said that. Okay.
I think we can all agree that actually Mark Evan Jackson's podcast has the best
Hey,
recaps.
his is written by the people who write the show.
And it's longer than 30 seconds.
And it's longer than 30 seconds. And he's not doing it from memory.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys.
Shall I set up the timer for you?
Make it happen. I'm ready when you are. It's not going to go well, I can tell you this already. My brain is a jumble right now.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, starting in now.
Okay, Eleanor wants her memories back. Michael is hesitant to show her. They go to a library and he shows her the reboot of her and Chidi falling in love. Lots of shit happens. Basically, she thinks that her entire life is not taken by free will. Michael convinces her otherwise, and the gang are back together. At the very end, Sean has made an illegal portal into Earth. Done. Oh, come on!
That was
I had the points.
Perfectly on time.
What up?
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I guess it's pretty
Told
good.
you guys.
I guess
Come on.
it's pretty good.
Come on.
I feel like you left out a lot of detail.
Hey, it's not about details,
Bunch
okay?
of shit happens. I mean, you ragged
Also,
on me.
guys, stop swearing. A bunch of shit happens.
Wait, you've got
I'm gonna have to
to
go in and edit it though. I want less work for me.
No, we love doing more work for you.
Yeah.
You're a producer for a reason.
It's
we pay
natural
you.
for
You
us
don't
to do
pay
this.
me. If you pay me, it'd be fun.
We pay you in friendship sponsorships. I mean, it's...
We pay you in love and things.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
what
it
an
was
episode.
It was so good.
Wow. I was not sure at first if I was actually going to like this episode.
It's all flashbacks. Well,
No,
fake flashbacks.
not even that. Just the first 5 minutes of it, I was kind of like a bit taken aback.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird, but you can see why they did it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting because once they brought out the simulation machine again and started doing her memories of the flashbacks, that was really cool because also seeing as much of the flashbacks as possible is super cool.
Yeah.
But then also because she's so no, I can't believe that I told Chidi I love him. So this must be bullshit. I have to see it for myself.
Very
Super
true.
cool.
Very Eleanor. I think I think it's really well built into Eleanor's character that she's like, no, I'm not just going to trust you based on last episode's, reveal. I'm going to have to see it with my very own eyes. I think that's good for Eleanor has changed and whatever, but she's still Eleanor. She's never,
still Eleanor.
Yeah.
100%.
And the fact that we get to see her in all the different reboots, but mostly in the one where she and Chidi fall off. But then Also, the bits with the other
fun little ones
other
with the
members.
purple blob
Oh my
and Tahani and her centaur.
Tahani and her mirror centaur was
God.
amazing.
It was
What a
incredible.
great torture device with
So
Tahani.
random, and I love that so much.
And it took me a while to realize it was a lizard, that Eleanor's was a lizard. I was
Yeah.
like, that makes sense for her spiky personality.
And having it just crawl over her face was the
Slash
funniest thing.
Arizona dirtbag to
Yeah.
a T.
Yes. Yes.
Well, because also it wasn't like that was assigned to her. She chose the lizard.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. She was like, out of all of the animals here, I want this one.
Yeah.
What were you saying? They said the title of the episode. I didn't
That was
even
right at the
notice.
end. That was after that was when Michael poured the iced tea over
Oh,
Eleanor's
okay.
head and then said, "We're going to pick up our friends from the airport. It's the worst possible use of free will, but we're going to do it."
Yeah. I mean,
Such a throwaway.
what I really, really liked about this episode was how they made the flashbacks seem so like being in the neighborhood again, which was great, and I love that because I freaking love the neighborhood. Like, I really miss that place, and it was so nice to see it again. But then also having just like a really intense one-on-one with Michael and Eleanor, and seeing how they have said all through this season, like, oh, we're similar in like slight throwaway moments, but then you really come into it now and you kind of go, oh, right, like,
Yeah, this is it's such a good example of like why these two are the ones that are like the leads of the
Yeah,
show.
exactly.
Both because they're incredible actors,
Yes.
but because like they do have this like thing tying them together about
Yeah.
like their selfishness and their
Yeah.
like inability to care for others, but then also now they are starting to care for others,
Yeah.
and that's hard for them.
and it's
Yeah.
and they're 100% balancing each other out so well that I'm expecting it to blow up in their faces soon,
Aw.
right?
Aw.
Like, I have obviously it is Sean's back with Vicky and
I'm
the
so glad
other
Vicky's
two
back.
and Glenn and
I'm
what's
so glad Vicky's
the
back.
lady's name again? I can't
I
remember.
don't know. I don't know if she ever got a name necessarily, or
She
at least
must have, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. She's a
Yeah.
female TV show.
I
deserves
do
a
think
name.
Yes.
it definitely looks like it's gonna blow up in their faces, especially like with the way that like they ended the storyline with the Soul Squad.
Yes.
With him like, we need to find a perfect human being and have everyone emulate them. It's like, oh, this is doomed.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
We're being brought to you by this apartment that we're recording in. That Anusha has been house sitting for a while. So this is going to be our last session recording here. I think last week we recorded somewhere else, but other than that, it's always been here.
Yeah.
And it's been nice. It's been a
Guys,
nice like home to come
Let's
to.
hold hands and say thank you to the apartment.
Thanks, apartment!
Home.
Home.
Channel the spirit.
Home.
Home. The rain.
Okay, now let's light some sage and just cleanse the aura.
Oh,
of the
gosh.
place.
Thank you, home.
Thank you,
and
home.
We give you back to your rightful owner.
Thank you, ghost that haunts this apartment.
Meaning the birds that are in the frickin' vent.
Yeah, there was a frickin' bird in the vent over the oven,
It's
and it freaked both of
terrifying.
us out because we thought like a rat had crawled
And
in there.
then-
And then we
Genuinely
turned on the
terrifying.
fan and we heard a crunching and we're like, oh fuck! But no, it was just the twigs from the bird's nest.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Perfect, done. I'll cut that in twice.
Thanks for doing so much work for this podcast,
I'm so
Karen.
sorry. Do you understand how tired I am right now?
Okay.
Though? Like,
okay.
whew.
Okay.
This episode
I'm
is brought to you
trying.
by caffeine. It's the only thing keeping us up.
I'm genuinely trying so hard,
Okay,
guys.
let's get back to the
Oh
podcast.
boy. All right. Sully, would you like to go first?
Yeah, okay. Here's what I want to talk about. Is that what we're
Yes.
supposed to say?
She's on Twitch. She hasn't been part of this podcast.
We've only
at
done
all.
it like twice to 3 times to 4 times an episode.
Well, anyway,
Go ahead.
here's what I want to talk about. The philosophy of this episode, determinism.
Yes.
Yay! Okay, so I've been studying behavioral psychology, which is very much determinism. They believe that all behavior is determined and lawful and based on our environment and upbringing and genetic endowment, just like Eleanor said. And I personally like, when my teacher gets all, there's no such thing as free will, I'm a bit like, depends what you call free will. Because when Michael was, like, saying that something, it's just a bunch of choices, but he can't keep track of it or something. Yes. I'm like, that's basically free will. If it gets complicated to the point where you can't predict or you can't keep track of what's causing the behavior, that's free will. It doesn't matter that it comes from somewhere.
Or predetermined by something.
Yeah, okay. That's
it's sort of like the difference between, like... Sorry to interrupt. No, like, it's like the difference between, like, is it a choice that you could have predicted in advance? Maybe it's not free will. Is it that the circumstances meant that there was no choice at all and it was 100% this thing? That, like, I think those are two slightly different things. Because, like, just because you can predict, oh, this person's likely to do something, and you know all the factors, like, there's still, you know, we still can't predict what the weather's going to be like. Like, there are things that we can't predict, like, that affect systems in ways that we can't anticipate. But even in that case, like, just because you can predict it in advance doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a choice.
Yeah, I think the system is
that might have been meaningless.
No, because that is exactly what Eleanor was in all of Michael's reboots. She was that unpredictable storm that no matter how much information he had, he could not tell where she was going to go with it.
But it didn't mean that her behavior was irrational and didn't come from anywhere. Of course it was based on the situation. Of course it was based on what she'd learned in her life. And of course it's based on, like, genetically what she's most likely to do, her personality, her temperament. But I don't think that means that there's no free will, Eleanor, which basically just ties back into Michael was right. She's using it as a defense mechanism. Yeah. Which I'm glad that they touched on. Because otherwise I would have been like, that's a bit of a turn.
Yeah. Can I lead into my point?
Absolutely.
All right. Here's what I want to talk about.
Synergy.
Using that defense mechanism and, you know, obviously her freaking out and talking about her inability to be vulnerable. And Michael, the way that he talked about free will, it just made me feel so... It just reminded me so much of what I think on a day-to-day basis of the amount of really crappy things that are happening around the world, and that there are people who are making things happen for a reason. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So they are doing things because they know what the consequences of that action are going to be. Yes. And that there is a balance to that, because then there are other people who are going to do the opposite of that, and that is our free will to balance humanity out. Does that make sense?
No.
let me try and guess what you were trying to say.
Yes.
So you're saying, like, on a macro level,
yes,
people make choices that can oppose each other.
Yeah.
And that's what free will is. That that there's always choices that oppose each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Basically, yes. And it brings me a lot of hope, and, like, I know that a lot of people turn to religion in instances where they need to find hope in instances like that. Whereas for me, I guess in this case, put on my Michael thinking hat and think about it as my free will, my rational thought, but also my feelings towards something that are bringing out the best side of me in those moments and are bringing me hope.
Wait, no. Let me try and figure out what you're trying to say. Let me translate.
Okay, I have been working with children for 52 hours this week, okay? I have clocked it. 52 hours. I have gotten a total of 18 hours of sleep this week.
Holy crap,
so,
Anusha.
Here is why I'm rambling and not making sense.
Okay.
Use your free will to get some sleep.
So, like, why don't you say again if you have an idea of what she's talking about?
Okay.
Because, like, are you mean, like, bad people choose to do bad things and good people choose to do good things? Or is it less, like, moralistic than that, what you're saying?
No, less moralistic than that.
So you're saying because you can get up every day and you can make a choice to change the world for the better, that gives you hope?
Yeah.
See, Karen, it's easy. Okay. She's so clear.
Okay.
She was so clear.
I had to have it translated through something.
No, in my mind, I'm making sense until you both look at me and go, what? And I'm like, oh, okay, now I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
It's like poetry. No, it's like how I understand poetry, which is I read it and then I get the vague shape of it and I think I sort of understand
Thank
it.
you for articulating my brain, which cannot articulate itself right now.
It's a tag team. That's what I want.
Anusha's like poetry. Her thoughts are like poetry.
This is me at my worst and my best.
I would also like what you were saying about how like people turn to religion. That is actually something that I thought about during the episode because Eleanor was talking about how there might be like a mega demon that is controlling Michael and then like super mega demons that are controlling those mega demons. And I was like, that's like why people turn to God. It's like that's an explanation.
That's what I was saying.
It's like an explanation for free will. It's like
You're the same. You said that exactly the same.
That's exactly what I said.
But what I'm saying is, I was reiterating what you said.
Go on.
To continue down that path. Because that's the thing, it's like people trying to figure out why people choose to do bad things. Then they're like, oh, it's a complicated thing that I don't understand and we have free will. Because if they think, oh, people do bad things because they're in a bad situation, then it's hard to like hold people to account for their actions because you're like, yes, you are a psychopath and you killed innocent people, but I can't blame you because that's your genetics. And it's like, sure, to a certain extent you have to think that, but it's also like, we do live in a society, so we have to assume that like, sure, we should take into account people's situations and like the things people can't control, but we do have to at a certain point say, no, the buck stops with you. You are in control of your actions and you need to be treated accordingly.
And you need to face consequences. But that's so much of our like legal system as well. And it's a lot of the argument between like, are we just punishing people for what they do? I.e., you have free will, you're an adult, you should face your consequences. Or you're in a certain situation, you should be rehabilitated. We need to give you therapy and change your environment and stuff.
Exactly, and that's like the whole thing of rehabilitation because you're like, okay, your circumstances led you to do bad things, so we need to put you in good circumstances so that you will do good things, which is like so many like drug abuse victims, like when they go into rehab, they become clean, and then as soon as they go back home, because they're in the exact same situation, they go back to their old patterns. Solly's smiling.
Guys, this is like my entire job.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so evident in each of these characters, tying it back to the show, that we see how if Eleanor was just put back, how she was put in the first couple of episodes, of season two?
Yeah, 2 she was rebooted.
Yeah, when she was rebooted, that putting her back into that situation, it just made her fall back into those same patterns again. And despite her going through a life-changing alteration moment of nearly dying, it didn't matter because then her personal choices went back into it and she went
because she was still
in the same situation. Yeah.
This is like actually my favorite thing about determinism and what I do behaviorism. It's saying everybody's actions happen for a reason. No one is a wild, crazy, irrational actor who's just doing this to hurt you. It's because of the environment. It all stems from somewhere, and it gives you so much more compassion for people because you automatically think, okay, why are they doing this? It's not something intrinsically bad about the person.
Yes. And that is like the main thing that people who are attacking groups, racial communities, underprivileged communities, all sorts, pitting them as the bad people by like making it super narrow and being like, this is what determines who you are and this is why we're going to say that immigrants are awful or
You're
whatever.
essentially bad as opposed to
people who are not white are
and it's that same thing of like why, you know, the instinct is always, oh, someone's committed a crime, so therefore we have to punish them as harsh as possible. Yes. Even though, like, most people are not psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like, even psychopaths have reasons for what they do.
Absolutely.
But, like, most people who, you know, rob a store or, you know, commit a violent crime, they are not doing it because they are intrinsically an evil person. They've done it because their circumstances have put them in a situation where that makes rational sense for them.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily rational. It might be an emotional reaction that was triggered by something in their life.
Absolutely.
This is reminding me of the example of in one of the early episodes of The Neighborhood when Michael is on Team Cockroach and Chidi gave all of them the assignment of reading Les Miserables and he's like, to Michael, your essay basically says that Jean Valjean stole the loaf of bread because he's going to the bad place because he stole a loaf of bread and then makes him a bad person. And he's like, no, but what you're not thinking about this in moralistic terms, and why aren't you thinking about his consequences and what led him to doing stealing that loaf of bread in the first place and all that sort of stuff. It's great. It's the whole.
But also Jean Valjean is French, so he's going to the bad.
So he's going to the bad place anyway. Yeah.
But that's the whole thing about the point system, right? Is that you're essentially bad, you deserve to be tortured forever, which is
why they want to change it.
Exactly.
And I love that.
Well, that's a classic thing. Like the point system is a purebred Kantian level of philosophy. It's like, no, there are certain actions that are good and certain actions that are bad, and there is no arguing what is what.
Ground,
yeah. It's not circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's not relative. It's not.
Guys,
it's all relative,
so
guys.
We're all relative.
Great. Did you have yours?
I'm gonna bring it back to like a sort of lighter, less like heavy philosophical
You told me to go first.
Here's what I want to talk about. How amazing was the mirror centaur for
Yes!
Oh,
she is such a hot babe.
She's so good. What I love is like
wow.
What I love is it's like it's a centaur that mirrors you, so it looks like you, so it becomes her, but it's like an even more beautiful, like gold wearing version of her who's like, I am Titania, the goddess of beauty.
Literally glowing.
And like Jamila Jamil's face in that was like, oh. And she's like, she finally sees what everyone else sees in Tahani.
That's so true. That's so true. And then the centaur Tahani is talking to her like Tahani talks to everyone else. And she's like, so this is what it feels like. And she doesn't know if she likes it or if she hates it.
It's sort of like Tahani with all the like pretend niceness worn away.
Yeah.
It's just her being her full judgmental self.
Yes, 100%.
And just her reactions throughout the entire thing were amazing. Even like when the centaur came up and was like, I need new shoes. I can't be wearing these flats. And it's holding a literal horseshoe.
I never thought of it. So true.
Oh, man. So many little things that I really want to
the entire time they were talking about riding the centaur, though, I was like, in Harry Potter, that's, like, culturally inappropriate to want to ride a centaur because it's, like, oppressive and demeaning. Harry Potter, so...
I am so glad you brought that up. I was thinking the same thing, and I was like, Friends would not stand for
Friends
this.
would never. This is so disrespectful.
The only time that he lets a human ride him is when Harry Potter is in danger from Voldemort, and he's saving a child.
Yeah, because he's such a good person.
Okay.
Centaur.
Obviously, since I'm not as much of a nerd as you guys, I haven't read Harry Potter. That is a complete lie.
Oh my god, Karen!
Did you actually believe it? Seriously?
Come on.
Maybe he was
Come
gonna be like,
on.
I've only listened to the audio.
Why would I be friends with either of you otherwise?
Okay.
What do we think though? Like, because if the centaur like has her own,
Touching it like a Bible.
I swear on this copy of Goblet of Fire.
It's sitting on the table right now.
but like if the centaur has her own intelligence, like how much of Tahani has been brought over? And if it was just a blank slate until Tahani's like personality got imprinted on it, then like really it mostly would see itself as human. In which case, like, how is that any different from, say, asking to take a piggyback ride on someone?
But Tahani would
like,
never
if they
give
say
anyone
no,
a piggyback.
then sure.
Yeah.
But like,
I think.
do we know that Tahani would never give anyone a piggyback? Like, would she say no to a
it's
child?
manual labor.
Yeah, she would never do that.
It's manual labor.
No, but
Karen.
like again, but that's because she's a very tiny person. If it were, say, a child or someone asking to take a piggyback ride.
Tahani with children? I don't think so.
She would have to benefit a lot. She would have to look really
It would have to be a photo
good.
shoot.
Oh, it would be for
But also,
something that would be
it would have to
Tahani
be
centaur with Tahani riding on the back, hair flowing.
Oh my
in the
god, that
wind.
would be so amazing.
Such a good photo shoot.
If she's riding herself, sure. But she wouldn't let anybody else ride her.
Except Jason. Or Larry Hemsworth.
Okay, guys, I'm moving on quickly. What you said just made me realize, if it's a blank slate until Tahani's personality gets imprinted on her, maybe it ties into the determinism plotline, because then it's like, what if this is Tahani without any of the social, like, you gotta be nice, you gotta seem like good PR. This is Tahani, like, just fully bad person.
I thought that was the whole point, right? Was that it was Michael's way of torturing Tahani, showing her the side of her that was ugly, and that would make
it's
her...
like you said before. It's like the centaur treats Tahani the way Tahani treats other people.
Yeah.
It's her mirror, literally.
Excellent.
Thanks. See, I'm not totally crazy on lack of sleep.
Okay, we're done there. Shall we go to speculation for the future?
Yes.
What I think you had a
Yeah, you
reaction
should go first.
when they said something about going to rural Canada.
Yes.
What is
Do you
your
think
idea?
I'm mounting?
do you
What's
know
happening?
do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
Okay, because guys, the dude in the painting in Michael's office, who was the guy that figured out all of the good 97%. Doug Fawcett was from Canada. He was a college student in the 70s. He's probably still alive today, living in rural Canada. I bet it is Doug Fawcett.
Okay.
Because he is the only one that knows as much as they do about the afterlife.
Okay, I hate to poke a hole in it, but
What?
he doesn't know. He got high and guessed.
Yes, but he's the one that has gotten closest without knowing, So they're going to somebody who's in
But
the
just
world
because you think you know what the afterlife is, that doesn't mean you're going to actually be a good person. There are so many Christians who think they have a crystal clear idea of what they need to do to get into heaven, who still don't do it.
They weren't talking about them finding someone who's the best person in the world. That wasn't at the point that they were talking about going
Change them up.
Yeah, about finding someone who would affect the most change. Across the
that's
board.
my problem with it, Anusha.
No, I thought it was they were
important.
trying to find the perfect person so they would have a model.
No. What they said was that they were going to look for someone who was who was
to act
going
as
to
a
be able
model
to
for humanity.
Yeah, and so
But that means they need to be a model.
No,
that people
they're
can
gonna
base-
fix
no,
them.
they're gonna fix him to become the model for humanity. But you need to find somebody who's gonna think, if you tell me the story about the bad place and the good place, any normal person would be freaking...
Anusha,
Yes.
they can't know, otherwise it doesn't count for
No,
their
but he
good
already
points.
knows.
No, he doesn't.
No,
he thinks
he
he knows. He has a guess.
No,
Yes,
he got
so he
high and guessed.
Right, so he doesn't have to actually know, but he already kind of knows. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, but they're not going to tell him because then he'll
Anusha,
stop having any
my
contact.
issue with it is,
Yes.
who the heck is Doug Forsyth? He's not Rihanna.
Fawcett.
Whatever. Why would people copy him? He's just some nobody.
But he could become somebody because Tahani...
Yeah, but anyone could become somebody. They could actually
Exactly.
go to Rihanna and she would affect more people.
No, but they were... No, but guys...
Okay. This is why this is in the crazy speculation section, because Kieran and I both have doubts.
Okay, I think you're going to be proven wrong.
Okay, this is great, because next episode, ride or die.
I'm not saying they're necessarily not going to go to Doug Fawcett. I'm just I don't think that is the reasoning that they would have.
Because
Thank you, Mara.
You can
Michael
hear
is
Mars in the
literally
background.
saying this is the only person he knows that could do this. And he knows everything.
Yeah, but again, it's as much of a quirk that Doug Fawcett is the one. There's no intrinsic thing about his personality that makes him the best.
Well, we
person
don't know
to do
because
anything.
we haven't met him. So maybe when we meet him, we'll know.
Look,
Yeah, but I feel like they could just create a new character and it would be just fine.
I think it
I
could
really-
be Doug Forsyth.
Oh.
I think it's possibility, definitely.
Actually, crazy fan theory. I think it's going to be Nick Offerman.
What?
They're going to rural Canada. Literally that. Okay, they're casting Nick Offerman.
Okay.
What,
But
they
what
ca-
if Nick Offerman is
Nick
50-year-old
Nick
Doug?
Offerman is Doug Fawcett.
Mate, I don't think he is, but maybe.
Don't you do this to me, okay? Don't you bring Nick Offerman into the conversation and then be like,
Okay.
It's not your dumb character. I have
Okay,
IP over
Anusha's
this.
fan theory is out there. We don't believe her, but okay.
I mean, it's going to prove you wrong, and I know I'm right.
You're sounding like when
Okay.
Sully was espousing her time travel
I
theory.
feel great. I feel great now.
You should feel vindicated by the
But
time
hey,
travel theory.
mine is actually legit because there is evidence in this episode.
There
there was
isn't.
evidence for my
Yes.
stuff too, but
There
also that's how I felt. This is exactly
He
how
was
I
brought
felt.
up in this episode, you guys.
No, he
that
was in the
guy?
background. In
Yeah,
the-
but
I actually-
and Eleanor said, "Who's that guy?"
I actually agree that
Oh,
that
okay,
would
that
be
might have
pretty
been
good.
laying a thing so that
That
people
would
would
be
remember.
pretty good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vindicated.
No, this is great.
That still
Next
doesn't mean
week,
he's the best choice.
tune in
You
next
don't
week.
know. You don't know.
Okay, but let's be honest.
He
Do
could
we
be.
really think, based on how this episode ended, with Michael going, "Oh, I've got this great idea," do we really think that's going to be the right idea? No.
no, obviously
This
not.
idea is going to flop.
Sure. Yes.
But
Which
it doesn't
means-
Which
matter.
gives more
But
credence to it being Doug because of all the reasons we pointed out
Exactly.
for why it
So
wouldn't
our
work.
problems with the theory are the reasons why it is Doug.
It
Because it
is
makes no sense and it's a terrible idea.
Okay,
And that's
You're
the
dumb
show,
like
guys.
Michael in the show.
don't knock it till you've tried it, guys.
And that's the show.
I
Don't
love
knock
that we're
until
gonna
you
find
try it.
out next week.
Oh,
So
jeez.
tune in, fans.
All right,
and we'll
kids.
see who
Okay.
gets the last laugh.
It's time for the good word. Down, 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 down.
It's time for the good word. Guess what? Stephen Fry is back with a brand new track. You have to check out his podcast, The Great Leap Years. It is freaking
It's so good.
fantastic. Okay?
Okay, I will.
Kieran, back me up.
I'll back you up. It is so great. I listen to it. It's only like 6 episodes long, so it's like really quick to get through.
I'm in.
He's doing a season 2. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's him going through pivotal years throughout history and moments in history.
With sort of a focus on like mass
Inventions
communications and stuff.
yeah, like
It's like
how
the development of like human communications
Yes.
and communities and
Yeah.
things like that.
and it's
So it's not just leap years that he talks
no,
about.
it's like great leaps forward.
the
in
great
technology.
leaps through the years.
I
Yeah.
see.
Through humanity's
Yes.
lifespan.
Got
Yes.
it.
Anyway, yes. And one more Stephen Fry announcement. We are not being paid for any of this, by the way. Stephen Fry, if you're listening to
Stephen
this, we
Fry would
love
never
you.
pay us.
That's true, but he had. Hey
We
guys,
are like ants to him.
I got paid in an actual bear hug by him once.
Yeah, he
so
might
it's
hug us.
fine. Not might, he did. It was real.
I'm saying us. Me
Oh,
and
you
Kieran
and Kieran.
need some
Sorry.
loving too.
Sorry. Yes. He also has his second book out about Greek mythology called Heroes. And I'm so excited to read that too.
Yay!
Stephen Fry, and like
He's such a
with the Great
great
Leap Years,
human
he literally researched
Yes.
and wrote it himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he does that because he's an incredible human being.
Because he's that kind of person.
He is
He
the
built a Gutenberg press on like with
Yes.
a friend.
Oh my god. He is known as the modern day Renaissance man, which I 100% agree with. And he is better than that because he is just an incredible human being and I love him so much. Can you tell how much I love him? Because when people ask me, who do I freak out about? I genuinely freak out about Stephen Fry more than anybody else.
And so that's the good word.
Alright, guys.
Please like and share this episode. You can find us on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube, and you can email us on goodchatpod@gmail.com. Our old episodes are on our Good Chat YouTube channel.
A big thank you to Jonathan Vanderhorn for composing our intro music.
You've been listening to The Good Chat. Go do something, chat.